Let's talk. This video is for my brides and my photographers as well, but these are for brides that are looking for their favorite photographer, looking for somebody to shoot their amazing wedding, their big day, or anything, but let's focus on weddings. And these are questions that you should be asking your photographer. I made a video on things you shouldn't be asking, why are you asking, why are you wasting your time? But I've also been dealing lately with a lot of clients or a lot of friends of mine who are getting married, and I don't shoot my friend's wedding, and they're like, what should I be asking my photographer? What should I be focusing on when interviewing these people? Because they can all say the right things, but I'm so scared that when the day comes, they're not gonna be able to produce. So these are gonna be the 5 questions you need to ask your wedding photographer before you even think about booking them. Let's go. That was like bold. That was pretty good. Hey guys, it's Jeremy with Jeremy Lou Photography. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Video helps you anyway, give it a thumbs up and then click that bell for notifications. It'll tell you every time I come on. We're doing this vlogging style, guys. We're in the house. I have a couple things going on. Just had some coffee. Been working on I've been fasting. I'm on a 12-7, so, something 17-7. So I've been fasting 17 hours, then eat 7 hours, and it's actually going pretty well, and I have this energy right now, and I don't know if this is how life is supposed to be, but it's going, guys. So I have my sheet here, guys, and the reason this stemmed from was not only people asking, but I was also on a show and a podcast that asked me these questions, like what 5 things should we be focusing on when asking questions, because you go into these blind. So if you're a bride, this is for you. This is totally for you. Photographers, you need to know how to answer these questions in order to make it actually work. So these are my go-to questions, what I tell my homies, my friends, like make sure you ask these questions. And sometimes they'll send me links or emails or whatever. And I'm like, let's just see if we can get these answered for you to book it. And these are important. And when I do book weddings, I make sure I answer these questions anyways. I don't get to book every wedding that I talk to, but I'm at like a 90%er of people that I talk to, I will book their wedding. It's mostly if I don't book them, it's because of my price, because I'm not cheap, and I'm okay with that. So the first thing, guys, you're booking a wedding photographer, you're going through websites, and you're like, what do I need to know? The first thing I would ask your photographer is for a full portfolio. Now, you can ask these questions when you meet with them, email or whatever, depending on how responsive they are, they should be no problem giving it to you. A full portfolio or a wedding gallery. What this means is that when you go to my website, you go to somebody else's website, you're gonna see the greatest set of pictures you're ever seeing, because I'm picking individual shots from my 200, 300 weddings that I've shot that are going on my website. And you're gonna look at that and be like, oh my God, these are epic and these are amazing. But does that mean that's what you're going to get? From every wedding, I would say I shoot a bunch of images that are not edited the way that they go on my website. And what I mean is I shoot for a lot of candid moments that you're gonna love and cherish for the rest of your life. Yes, they'll be edited, but they're not always gonna be the bride and groom posing over water, a light in the back, or sunset happening. They're not always gonna be like that, and they shouldn't be like that. But you also need to know that their photos are consistent, and that's the biggest thing ever. So what you need to do is say, hey, do you mind sending me a full gallery of a wedding that you shot recently, maybe at the venue that we shot it at, or that we're getting married at, so that I can see what you are producing for your clients. In fact, when I meet with the bride and groom, I will pull a gallery from there and I'll actually stream it while we're talking, either on the TV or an iPad or something, depending on the location that we're at, so they can see that I'm giving consistent imagery from beginning to end. The last thing you want as a photographer to shoot your entire wedding day, do multiple weird edits, or only produce a few images that are great and everything else is of feet and stuff. So make sure that you ask for a full portfolio or a full gallery. That's number 1. Number 2, timeline setup. Do they help you with the timeline? Do they create a timeline for you? Are they part of that process? I create the timeline for my couples, and the reason that photographers need to be part of this is that we're with the bride pretty much the entire day. We're actually with the bride more than the groom until honeymoon happens. So we need to make sure that we know what we're shooting, when we're shooting. We need to know the names of your people. We need to know how many bridesmaids, groomsmen, the locations. Are you getting ready here? Where's the groom getting ready? We need to know everything, and in order for that to happen, we need to help create that timeline. In fact, I create a timeline for every single wedding that I do, and that eases everything. I get to go into that wedding knowing exactly what happens when, how to shoot it, when I need to shoot it, what I need for my gear ready. There's nothing worse than going, than talking to a bride and saying, hey, did you get a picture of me and my Aunt Jane? She actually raised me. My mom's here, but like Aunt Jane was like there all the time. And you sit there and go, I don't know who Aunt Jane is. I think Aunt Jane left, or you didn't tell me about Aunt Jane. That doesn't happen anymore in weddings with us because we're prepared and we're pushing forward. So timeline setup, make sure your photographer does a timeline, and a simple question of, hey, do you help with the timeline? Do you work a timeline? Are you part of the timeline process? And if they go, you know what, just send me, do not do this. Do not book them if they do this. Just send me what you have and I'll just go off of your timeline. No, don't do that. That's gonna kill everything. You're gonna be stressed out the whole time. You don't know what they're getting, when they're getting it, and so forth. The third thing is personality. I'm gonna put this down because apparently my arms are not strong anymore, and that's just how I live my life. The third thing is personality, guys. You are booking your photographer based off of personality. You can have the greatest photographer in the world, but if they're a dick, if they're jerks to your family members, to you, they think they know everything, they're just not personable, that is not a person that you need to be working with. Personality is king. Remember, when you hire a vendor, especially a photographer, they're a guest at your wedding. They're going to be interacting with your guests. They're going to be in some behind-the-scene photos that your guests are taking. And so you're going to have memories of this person at your wedding. I mean, there's people you didn't invite to your wedding, but this photographer is going to be at your wedding. Make sure they're amazing. Make sure you mesh with them. Make sure you smile and laugh, and they're personable, and they know how to interact with you. Really just make sure they're a chill person. Like if you'd hang out with them, cool. This will make that price point a little bit better, a little easier to swallow, but also it gives you an opportunity to not focus directly on their work. Yes, they're going to be amazing what they do, but if their personality is subpar, they're just not going to have a good time at a wedding. Imagine taking the best photo you've ever had, but then the photographer is criticizing you or ridiculing you or making weird, inappropriate jokes. Then every time you look at that photo, you're gonna be like, oh man, this is when Jeremy said that thing, you know. Just so you know, I'm totally awesome and I would never do stuff like that. But there are photographers that do that. So that's number 3, right? We're rocking through these. These are great questions to be asking your vendors. And in fact, I mean, all vendors, you can ask, photographer, but personality, all vendors for sure. Number 4 is gonna be rights to photos. Now, this is a little tricky, guys, but here's what you need to know as a client. You need to know that, hey, when you're hiring a photographer and you're paying a premium for this, you're paying something over $3,500, $4,000, which is what I recommend. $4,000 to $6,000 is on average what you should be spending for an entire day of photography. You're gonna wanna know, hey, what can I actually do with these photos? And you're gonna wanna ask that question. Please do not spend money without knowing that what you're allowed to do with that photos in layman's terms, in teach me like I'm a 4-year-old term, right? Can I print the photos? Can I share them on social media? Can I give digital copies to my grandparents? What can I do? My limited copyright is simple. You guys can do anything with the photos except for sell them or edit them. You can't make money off of them. If there's a way for you to make money, I'm happy to join you in that. We can make money on Vogue. Or you just can't edit them. You hired a photographer to edit and alter the photos. This is my work. This is what I'm hired to do. Let me do it. If there's something that's weird in the photo that you want to change, talk to me. Let's see if we can do it and work it out together and make it reasonable. Is there a stop sign in there that I forgot to take out? I'll take out that stop sign for you, but please don't throw an Instagram filter on there and make it happen. This is what I do, and as part of my pricing, as part of my premium service, I will edit the photos for you. This is what I'm doing. When you hire a photographer, you need to ask those questions. What can I do? You'll be surprised when photographers that are in the $3,000, $2,500 range say, yep, I'll shoot your wedding. Oh, you know what? Your copyright is simple. You don't own anything. If you want to print them or post them or share them, you have to print them through me. If you want to share them, it's going to be $5 a digital, $10 a digital, $20 a digital. All of a sudden, that $3,000 price goes up to $10,000, and you're like, what the frick happened? By the time you ask those questions, if you're asking them after the wedding, it's too late. Your wedding already happened, guys. What are you gonna do? These memories are forever, so you're gonna fork out that money, you're gonna lose that money, you're gonna hate your photographer, and that's what's gonna happen. Ask what you're allowed to do with the photos. If you guys need to go back and rewind to what I said in my copyright, mine is standard. Mine is what you should be asking for, what you should be getting, and no more. You do not need to own the raws of the image. You do not need to own the full copyright of the image. There's no reason for you as a regular person to own that. Unless you're a celebrity or a business planning on making money from it, that's when you want the full rights. Also, raw photos are unedited photos, so stop asking for raw photos because we need to edit the photos. If you ask me for a raw photo and I somehow agree to that, it's an unedited photo straight from the camera. It's not even a JPEG, and most of the times you can't even open it. So ask for the copyright, what you're allowed to. If you have comments on that, comment below. I can make a separate video on that, but that's huge for me. And then the last thing you need to ask your wedding photographer is all inclusivity. When we book packages, you need to stop piecing together different parts of a package to make your wedding package. Guys, I know that there's price points. I know you have a budget, but this is your one day, and photography is not one of those things that's super fast to do. In fact, it takes me 10 hours to shoot a wedding. It'll take me 4 times that amount to edit a wedding. So it's 50 hours of work for one wedding. I'm charging accordingly for what I offer. But also in my packages, I have an album, I have prints for you, I have the digitals, I have a USB, I have a password protected gallery. And that's why I get to charge the $4,000 to $5,500. It's not because it's a big number that I was like, I'd like to make $5,000 per wedding. It's the 50 hours of work, the amount of money and time to make that album, the amount of money to buy those prints that are building into your package. It's all inclusivity. But that also means that when you spend that one price with me, it's tax inclusive and all that, you're not worrying about, oh my God, I should have gotten this. We had an amazing wedding. The photos look great, but we did not buy this, this, and this. It's all built in for you. There shouldn't be any extras. There shouldn't be any worries. So ask your photographer, is this something you would book for your wedding? Is everything that you're offering in your packages, what would you go for? And they should be able to tell you, you know what, this is a one-time thing. I know right now money might seem like it's a crazy thing, but in 10 years from now, you're gonna be happy that you went with this package, and I'm gonna give you everything that you need as far as a client goes, as far as a photographer would offer a client. This is my biggest tip, is like, stop nitpicking. Okay, I love this, but do I really need an album? Yes, you need an album. Who's gonna go to your house and watch a bunch of photos going through side to side on your TV? Nobody's gonna do that. They'd rather pull out an album, look through the photos of your favorite 60 to 100 images, and then ooh and ah and touch it and play with it and go from there, right? That's what we want. So we build these packages for you. Yes, we add money to it as we build to it, but we build this for our clients. It's not because, what can I sell, right? We're not offering medals and canvases and all that stuff. We're offering things that you need from your wedding. Hope that helps, guys. I mean, that's 5 things that you need to ask your wedding photographer to answer those questions. If they struggle on those answers, if they don't know the answers, then you kind of have your thing, right? I kind of answered it as I went. And I do travel like all over the world, guys. I do shoot weddings everywhere. I only do 35 weddings a year. So if you need me, I'm here. But brides, I hope this helps. I'm happy to help anybody. Comment below if you have questions. Also, my contact information is below if you guys need help. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you're having a good day. I'll talk to you guys next time.